My son refuses to speak to me since I started another family. The door slammed shut in front of me so hard that I felt the frame shake. My own son, my little David, had thrown me out of his house without saying a single word. He was 17, and yet he looked at me with such pure hatred that it pierced me like a knife. I tried knocking again, begging with a broken voice, "Son, please let me talk to you." On the other side, only loud music came through a wall of sound that shut me out, isolated as if I were a stranger. I never thought starting another family would push him away like this. I believed he would understand in time, that he would accept Daniel, my new partner, and his daughter Camilla. But the wound in him was deeper than I imagined. It all began the afternoon I took him to our new home. I showed him the bedroom I had decorated for him with posters of his favorite band and a modern desk. I smiled with hope, expecting him to feel it was his home too. But David froze when he saw Camilla playing with Legos in the living room. "Is she using my things?" he asked in a thin voice. "Sweetheart, they're not your Legos. We bought similar ones so you could play together." He looked at me with restrained fury. That night he didn't eat dinner, and in the early hours I heard him crying quietly in his room. The real breaking point came weeks later, on his birthday. I had organized a small party at home, hoping to bring everyone together. He invited his friends, but Daniel, without asking me, decided to give the birthday speech. He stood up with a glass in hand and said, "David, I want you to know that even though I'm not your father, I'll always be here to guide you as if I were." The room fell silent. My son stood up from the table, looked straight at me and whispered, "You have no right." He ran out and never came back that night. When he finally returned, he screamed at me that I had replaced him, that I had given his place to a stranger. I tried to hug him, but he pushed me so hard I hit the wall. From then on, he stopped talking to me. At home, he only replied with monosyllables or cold gestures, until one day he decided to move in with my parents, his grandparents. It hurt, but I thought time would heal it. I was wrong. My own parents fueled his resentment. When I visited, I noticed the way my mother looked at me with disapproval. "He needs stability," she said in front of him, "and you only think about your new life." David didn't defend me. He lowered his gaze, but his silence crushed me more than any insult. A month later, I received a call from the school. He had gotten into a fight with a classmate who mocked him for having two families. I rushed to get him, but by the time I arrived, he had already left with my father. I tried calling him, but he wouldn't answer. When I finally intercepted him at the school gate, he looked me straight in the eye and said his first words in weeks, "Don't look for me anymore. You already have a daughter." I felt my world collapse. I didn't know how to respond. I never wanted him to think Camilla was replacing him, but every gesture of mine seemed to confirm the opposite. One afternoon, desperate, I went to his room at my parents' house. I opened the door without waiting for an answer and found him holding a box. Inside were photos of our old home, from when it was just him and me. He looked at me with tears he was holding back and said, "Why did you ruin everything? We were happy." I reached out to take his hand, but he stepped back. My mother walked in at that moment and yelled at me to leave him alone. She accused me of being selfish, of having used my son as a stepping stone for my comfort, and then discarding him. David, in silence, nodded. That image shattered me. Weeks have passed since that day. I tried calling him on his birthday, but he hung up the moment he heard my voice. Today I'm outside his house again, with a gift in my hands, a notebook we used to write songs in together when he was a child. I rang the bell, hoping he would open the door, but the light turned on upstairs and I saw his silhouette staring at me. For an instant I thought he would come down. Instead, he drew the curtain and turned off the light. I was left alone, clutching the notebook to my chest, knowing that my son no longer wants to be part of my life.